Hey guys! So today I'm going to be filming my favorite books of 2016. I know this video is a little bit late, but I just couldn't get around to filming it earlier because I got a little lazy. So yeah, let's just jump right into it because I don't have that many books, but I have 9 books, but one of them counts as like one altogether. So yeah, so the first book, number 9, is Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sanz. I love this book, and I think what's part of me loving this book is that I listened to the audiobook that's narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it was so good. This is a story about 2 boys. Well, they're Mexican-American boys, and they become friends, and they eventually fall in love, and I just love this book. I can't even think of like an eloquent way to say this, but like, I don't know, I just really love this book. The writing was absolutely beautiful. Lin-Manuel Miranda did such a good job of like narrating it and bringing the story alive, which is why I love it so much. I still haven't actually read the physical copy yet, but I bought it because I loved it so much because I listened to the audiobook from the library. So yeah, it's really good, and it's really good in the summer, and I plan on rereading it in 2017, but it's so good. And plus, like, Dante, is it Dante? Yeah, Dante loves poetry and art, which is like my favorite thing, so it's really good. Number 8 is Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson. This is a Peter Pan retelling, and I've read quite a few Peter Pan retellings this year. I think I've read 5. And this one is my favorite, and I was recommended this one by Margot from Epic Reads, that she like talked about this book in like all of her videos. But this is Peter Pan retelling from the perspective of Tinkerbell, and it's telling Tiger Lily's side of the story. It's really interesting. There is a gay character in this, which is pretty cool. And I just loved it. It's not like your typical Peter Pan retelling, which a lot of them are like super dark and Peter Pan's the villain and Captain Hook's like the hero, which I mean is good too, but like it kind of gets boring to read after a while. So this was a nice refreshing one, and I love Tiger Lily. She's like one of my favorite characters, so I love this book, and that's why it's on this list. The next 2 books kind of go together, and that is V.E. Schwab's A Darker Shade of Magic and A Gathering of Shadows. These books, I love Victoria Schwab. I read all of her books this year, I think, except for the second book in the archived, but I read them all, and I love them, and I love this series. I'm so excited for it to conclude in 2017. A Darker Shade of Magic, it takes place in London. There are 4 like alternate Londons. There's Red London, Grey London, White London, and Black London. And it's so good. In Grey London, they don't have any magic, and it's under the reign of King George III. And then in Red London is where magic is like super duper like a thing, but it's not like a bad thing. It's just a good thing, and a lot of people can have the ability to do magic. In White London, it's just really bad. There's like these 2 twins that are like the leaders of White London, and they're evil and they're the worst, and it's slowly being like a war town. And then in Black London, there's nothing. Like, it's cut off from all the other Londons because it was consumed by magic. So there's Kell, who can travel between the 4 Londons, and it's just a really interesting book. If you love magic, it's really, really good for that, and I just love these books. The 3rd book is coming out, and the final book is coming out in February, or maybe even the end of January. I think it's in February though, and that's called A Conjuring of Light. But this is such a good series. The characters are so well developed, and Victoria Schwab is just a brilliant writer, and I love her so much. The next book is another one of Victoria Schwab's books, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This was the first Victoria Schwab book I read. I read it at the beginning of 2016, and I absolutely love it. I was gonna say it's my favorite, but it's not, because there's one more. But this is like one of my favorite books ever. It's so good. This takes place, it's told through like past and present, so it kind of flashes back, but it's from two college best friends, and then in the future when they're adults they actually are enemies, so you're kind of finding out like why they don't like each other and everything. And they have to do their college thesis project, so they both decided to do it on Extraordinaries, which if you're familiar with things like Deadpool and like stuff like that, like that's what it is. It's like experiencing having near-death experiences and how that could sometimes maybe give you superpowers. This is definitely an anti-hero book. It's like super morally gray, and it's really interesting. I love it. I need to reread it again really soon because I just told my friend to read it and he loved it, and he's actually thinking of like adapting some of the scenes for college because he goes to school for film, so it's gonna be really cool. And I think there's a sequel coming out to this. It was a standalone, but I think she's like expanding on the story. It's called Vengeful. I don't know when that's coming out, but I'm really excited about it. And in case you were wondering, this is the UK edition. But I love this book and I'm looking forward to rereading it. But yeah, everybody needs to go read Victoria Schwab because she's so good. The next book is one that I just finished reading in December, but it made the list, and that's The Vegetarian by Hong Kong. This book I was really intrigued by it because I heard some like not so good things about it, but I was really interested in it. I wanted to know because I had like recently become vegetarian when this book came out, and then I found out that it's like really not about vegetarianism, but I don't know, I was just interested in it, and it's really short, and so I finally picked it up in December. And this book is about a woman who has a dream that she became a vegetarian, and she had like a dream that she was eating an animal and then she became a vegetarian. And it's told in 3 novellas. The first one is the perspective of her husband, the second perspective is from her brother-in-law, and the third one is from her sister. And it takes place in Korea, and in the book it makes it seem like being a vegetarian is like a super big deal and it like, I don't know, it's more than just about being a vegetarian. It's actually not about being a vegetarian at all. It's about like women's roles in Korea and how like their decisions affect people outside of their lives. It was really interesting and it made me think a lot, and I just really loved it. Favorite part of it was the brothers. Even though the brother and the husband, the brother-in-law and the husband were like super duper assholes, but the writing in the brother section was just so good, and I just, this book is so good. Everybody needs to read it. But like, if you read it and you don't like it, don't be like super surprised because it's either like a hit or miss. You either love it or you hate it, but I just happen to love it. So we're in the top 3 books of the year. Number 3 is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I don't know why I'm holding it up because it's naked, but This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This book is about like what is the definition of a monster and like what it's like to be a monster. I do a really bad job of explaining what this book is about, but basically there's 3 different types of monsters, and in this world your acts of violence and like your actions basically create monsters. It's really interesting. So it takes place in Verity City, and the 2 main characters are Harker and August Flynn. And Kate is a human who just wants to be monstrous like her dad, because her dad's kind of on the side of the town where all of like the monsters aren't, so he's like protecting them from them. And then August is one of the only monsters that is the ones that play music, and there's only like 3 of those in the whole like world. So he just wants to be a human, she just wants to be a monster. They meet and have like a really weird adventure, and she's like super suspicious of him and she's like super badass. He's just like really cute and awkward, and there's no romance in this book, which is really good, and I'm so excited. This is a duology. The second book's coming out in 2017 and I'm just so excited for it. Okay, number 2 is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas. I know this book is problematic and I know there are issues and people have issues with it, but it would be a lie if I didn't put this book on my list of favorite books of the year because I'm obsessed with this book. I'm obsessed with this series. I haven't read Throne of Glass. I still don't know if I'm going to because I started to read it and I just wasn't into it really. But this series is so good. I can't wait for the third book to come out this year. But this book is just amazing. I'm not going to tell you what the synopsis is because it's the second book in the series, but just know that this, I'm obsessed with this book. And this is the UK edition also. And then my number one book of the year, let's get a drum roll in here. And that is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This book took me by surprise. I borrowed it from the library because I just saw it there and I heard somebody talk about it and I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get it. I don't know if I'll read it. And then I don't even remember what happened, but I picked it up and I was obsessed with this book. I could not put it down. I read it in one sitting basically. I stayed up like all night. And this is essentially a rape revenge story. So there is trigger warnings for like rape and sexual abuse and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure there's a trigger warning for suicide too. But this book, there's 3 different characters. There's Jack, PK, and Alex. And Alex's sister was raped and killed by this man. So the book starts off with Alex taking it upon herself to go kill the man that raped her sister. And then throughout the book, like, it just follows like their life until something happens and it changes everything. The writing is beautiful. The writing reminds me a lot of my own writing, which was really interesting because I don't really share my writing ever, but like I was reading this and I was like, did I write this book? Because this is a lot like my writing. It was like crazy. But this book is so good. It's very like badass and like unflinchingly honest about like, it's just like basically brutal. Like this book is dark as heck, but it's so good. I recommend it to like literally everyone. It's so close to my heart. I was like relating to these characters in a way that I've never related to characters ever in my whole life. So that was really cool. But I love this book so much. So everybody needs to go read this book. Either like go out right now, borrow it from the library if you don't have money. Go just support this book because it's so dang good. These are my favorite books of 2016. Let me know if you guys have any of these books on your favorites list for the year, or if you've read any of them, or if you're interested in any of them because of this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!